evening and welcome to News Night. My name is Charles Odongtho, and this evening, of course, in the studio, welcome back. You were out of this country, right?
Yes, I had gone to visit our troops.
You were going to, you had gone to visit troops?
Our troops
As who?
in South Sudan.
As who?
As the second commander-in-chief of the UPDF.
But of course, we know that that's not true, Andrew.
There is the president who is the commander-in-chief appointed by the constitution, then by the people, that is me.
Which people?
The people of Uganda.
You're living in a world of dilemma, just a world of vision. Anyway, Andrew, this week, attacks after attacks. Kenyans are mourning. There is a terrorist attack. Of course, the president this evening is saying something else. The terrorists are saying that the Al-Shabaab spokesperson is claiming responsibility. Why is Kenya so vulnerable? And are we safe as Uganda, so close to Kenya?
First of all, I should tell you that terrorism is the most difficult system of warfare that any government can fight. And very few countries have successfully cracked down on terrorism in a short time. It takes decades or even a generation for you to get over. Remember the IRA in Britain? Yeah. How many years did it take Britain to bring it down? If you look at the separatists in Spain, it took a very, very long time for Spain to get over it. These are highly developed countries, especially Britain. Now, if you talk of Kenya, Kenya has not had a previous experience of terrorism, and I don't think, therefore, their security services have acquired the necessary skills, and both in terms of human intelligence, but also in terms of technology and in terms of networks to be able to crack down effectively on terrorism. In Uganda, in the late 1990s, remember we had terrorism here in Kampala, orchestrated by the ADF.
Yes, yes.
And during that time, the government of Uganda was able to develop a lot of skills, and it was able to significantly penetrate the infrastructure of terrorism by having many terrorists actually becoming part and parcel of the government infrastructure to fight terrorism.
Informers and
they became informers.
The Wembley time and experience.
Wembley was criminality, but the terrorism was under JAT, the Joint Anti-Terrorism Task Force. So the JAT people, what they did, they were able to get some terrorists and turn them and make them informers of the government, and then they would go with them to Western Uganda, get ADF terrorists and say, we are going to Kampala, you have a mission. They bring them to Kampala and put them under arrest. But they will not arrest them in normal jails. They take them to safe houses, give them good food, give them siasa, what they call siasa, political education, and recruit them to become the next agents in penetrating these terrorist gangs. So they were able to penetrate all terrorist cells in Kampala and in Western Uganda and actually neutralize it. Now, if you are Kenya, Kenya is now going to enter that learning curve, because that learning curve does not just require human skill. The other thing you require to contain terrorism is the ability to infiltrate terrorist cells. In other words, your intelligence services become part of the infrastructure of intelligence, and then you begin dismantling it from below.
Now, compare the way we reacted to that, the way we handled it as a government here, security here, with the way Kenya is now handling its own, problem right now. This afternoon, what shocked me is that the president, the commander-in-chief, Uhuru, when there is a terrorist attack, and, very quickly, in my view, I would think that you're not supposed to react immediately and say this is political, because there is, yes, a political, can I call it quagmire, a political disagreement going on currently, what Raila is doing. So why is Uhuru doing that, and doesn't that jeopardize, the security work instead of investigating the real trouble? Even
though I am a witch doctor, I do not know why President Uhuru is saying that it is possible that he could have solid intelligence. It is possible he could be having solid intelligence that is informing his opinion. Because I posted his comment on my Facebook page, and so many people have been commenting, and they are saying, why is he saying this? But you see, sometimes when the president speaks, you do not know. He could be having very solid intelligence that has led him to believe that this is not Al-Shabaab, it is actually politically orchestrated to destroy a particular community. Now, why is Al-Shabaab claiming to be the one? If you're Al-Shabaab, you want to spread the terror. You want to show that you are the guy who is able to conduct some of the most serious operations. So Al-Shabaab may want to take credit for kills that are not theirs, if only to increase their own national and regional profile. It may not be true. So right now, what I can say is we don't know. We need to know first and establish the facts, and with the time the facts will come out and we'll know whether this is Al-Shabaab or this is a politically orchestrated move.
Now compare what is now the trouble Kenya is going through with our own preparations here? I mean, our own, you know, capacity to detect maybe danger, potential danger anywhere. You saw the news that NTV has just done this evening, where you put a bag, nobody detects it. World Cup is going on. We were last attacked during the World Cup.
Yes, because you see, I am actually much more...
Is our police,
First of all, I have already told you that terrorism is a very difficult enemy to fight.
True, I agree.
It's a very difficult system of warfare to fight. But even with that caveat in place, I can say that I am much more optimistic about Uganda, because when they made the terrorist attack in 2010 during the World Cup, it was just on the one. And it did not take even 2 months. At that time, the Independent actually published a story of the police and the CMI investigation. They were able to follow every terrorist, follow their telephone numbers, pick them from wherever they were in the infrastructure. Within 2 weeks, they had arrested all of them. It was not possible for the Al-Shabaab to launch a second attack on Uganda. So I have great optimism that the Ugandan security system has a highly developed knowledge, skills, experience in combating terrorism than our brothers in Kenya. And in fact, Uganda, the FBI people came here and America thought they were going to solve the problem, but they found the Ugandans were far ahead of them in terms of following it.
Do you think there is a greater link to this between Kenya being close to maybe Somalia, and that there is a big Somali community, which makes it easy for even for the Somali terrorists, if they want,
that's a very good point. That's a very good point. But you see, the thing with Al-Shabaab is Al-Shabaab does not necessarily need to use Somalis to conduct these terrorist attacks. Remember that the July 2010 attacks in Uganda, only one Somali was involved. The rest were Ugandans. There are many Ugandans who have gone to Somalia and trained with Al-Shabaab. Remember that Boko Haram and many of its fighters were trained in Somalia. So Somalia is a melting pot that attracts, or a magnet.
We should be winding up, and we are running out of time.
Okay, that attracts so many Islamic extremists to go and train from there. So even if Kenya did not have a Somali population, they can as well get many other Muslim Chikuyus and other tribes and use them in their terrorist attacks.
Well, thank you so much. That is Andrew Mwenda. He is the CEO of the Independent News Magazine. To our police.
And also the old man of the clan.
Old man of the clan. He has come back with his titles, and he will be receiving it whenever we sit here. My name is Charles Odongso. Before we wind up, of course, we need to thank our police and our security outfit. You know, now people have said Namugongo was a success. It was indeed a success. No attack, a huge population there. And of course, to our brothers and sisters in Kenya, we need to
be careful. People may accuse you of having been bribed by the government.
No, it's not. We need to thank them where they do a good job. But have a good evening. I now hand you back to the news.